Greetings, gamers, and welcome back for yet another episode of the G3 Podcast. Here on episode 81 on March 25th on 2023, we've got none other than your boy...
Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby.
Killionaire. Unfreaking believable. Hail to the king.
Mr. Snipe 90, what's going on, brother?
Hey man, how's it going? Trying a little technical difficulty free tonight.
Yeah, we will try, and hopefully that will happen. As Mr. Snipe 90 is alluding to, again, apologies to everybody who was really looking forward to seeing our bright shining faces, especially bright because we're still having technical difficulties with the lighting systems around here. But anyways, we will one day work all these kinks out and give you guys a high quality production show. Unfortunately, it's just going to be the two-man show this evening, but you know, that may also mean that we'll get done in a timely fashion. But anyways, once again, this is Gaming's Greatest Generation Podcast, episode 81. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share with a friend. You can check us out at g3podcast.live on the web. Hey, if you want to go ahead and find our stuff that's available out there. It's got a couple pictures, couple links to some things. And we look forward to your feedback, which you can give us at gamingsgreatestgeneration@gmail.com or by giving us a call at 702-690-9292. Let us know what you think of the website, what you think of the show, etc. So, speaking of the show, we've got quite a bit of news that happened over the past week-ish, I believe. We would agree on that one, Mark. And so we'll just kind of... Not necessarily super fast, but we'll kind of roll into it so we can get to the juicy bits of what we've been playing. So first and foremost, some pretty impressive news. If you weren't tracking, the Game Developers Conference went ahead and happened over the past week, and there was some good stuff that came out of there. And it kind of like how when E3 happens and you just seemingly have a bunch of gaming announcements, even if they're not there with E3. The same thing kind of happened over this past week. We just had a whole bunch of announcements from all over, to include the infamous Cyberpunk 2077 coming back, and the developers over there at CD Projekt Red are identifying that now, thanks to the technology that can be found in DLSS 3 and NVIDIA's 4000 series GPUs, they're able to finally institute path tracing into the game. So for the non-technically savvy, like, you know, we heard, especially during the 2000 and way leaning into the 3000 generation of the NVIDIA cards, we heard a whole lot about ray tracing. But ray tracing was essentially the computer-generated imagery or replication of what you would hope to obtain by, let's say, natural sunlight and natural reflections. And so path tracing is basically that, is saying that anything in the world that has an opportunity to go ahead and emit light, you're going to go ahead and have the opportunity to see not only the light coming from that, but potential reflections from that as well. And it's all essentially true to life looking, which, you know, that's kind of a great thing for Cyberpunk 2077 because it already, aside from its very egregious hiccups at launch, presented itself as a very graphically intensive contender out the gate, and something that I think is, you know, when we think back to the old days of like, can it run Crysis? I don't really think we play that benchmark anymore, right? Nowadays, more often than not, I think it really is like, hey, what kind of frame rates can you get in Cyberpunk? So Mark, what are you thinking about this one? I know you got an NVIDIA card, I've got an NVIDIA card, albeit they may not be the 4000 series, but is this something that you're looking forward to better your game performance overall? And is this, you know, the advent of this going ahead and making you want to upgrade to a 4000 card?
I don't think my pockets are deep enough for that right now, but I would like to.
Let me just put this car
I like what I
payment real quick.
yeah, you know. Um, I would, yeah, I would like to. I mean, it's the visuals that these developers coming out with, the videos coming out with. It's getting a little ridiculous. I mean, later in the show we'll talk a little more about it, but um, Cyberpunk, yeah, had a rocky start. It had some patches. I couldn't play it at all on my Xbox, so I ended up getting a refund on that. Bought it on the PC. Uh, World of difference already. And then they came out with the update. What was it, earlier this year? Um,
Oh,
when
you're
was
talking
that?
about like the 1.5 patch or something to that
So
effect?
yeah, something like that.
I think that was
So I
actually
got back
last year.
into it a little bit there. From what you're seeing with this new path tracing thing, it's basically a movie playing on your game. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. The video is getting a little cray cray, but I like it. So when the time comes, yes, I'll be upgrading into some sorts. But for now, take what I got. You know, I'll live my life through you. Maybe. Uh, I'm sure. I'm sure you'll add another to your GPU collection there. But yeah, it's gorgeous what they're doing with these games.
Yeah, it's unreal. I like the jab there. I like the subtle jab. No, but it is a little hard pressing considering I went ahead and I got the at what I thought was a decent price RTX 3090 Ti that I was going to try and do some of my own creation stuff. Again, some of which are in line with some of the stuff that we'll kind of talk about later on in the show. But I'm hoping that they go ahead and patch it to say, hey, yeah, if you've got the overhead on a 3000 series card, here is DLSS 3.0 or DLSS 3, so you too can go ahead and take advantage of it. The fact that they just literally call this overdrive mode in Cyberpunk is kind of wild to me. But yeah, I'm hoping that they'll go ahead and, like I said, release those drivers for some of the older cards because when I ask around, now this is just anecdotal, but when I ask around, there's a lot of folks that I have heard like, yeah, no, I have no reason to upgrade to a 4080. I jumped on when everything was kind of crazy with the 3000 series, or you got folks that are still kind of holding out from the 2000 series. Like, which one are you rocking, Mark?
1660 Ti.
And you got the 1660 Ti. Everybody kind of gets in where they fit in, kind of deal. Insofar as what their gaming tastes and likes are. Me, I like the high quality stuff. I'm the techie in that regard, and
Yeah.
so do I see myself, like I said, jumping on a 4000 series card? That's a I said car payment, but that's really more of like a mortgage payment for a month.
A lot of people are, like you said, happy with the 3070s, 3090s. Not so much. They skipped the 3080s. Like that was like a redhead stepchild for some reason. Like a lot of people do either 3070 or 3090.
Yeah, I mean, I've got
Like,
my 38, so I've got, oh God, I feel almost embarrassed saying, but I've got the 3080 Ti hooked up right now, the full AIO water cooled, and then I've got the 3090 Ti, which is it's sitting back there right now, and I need to get it put into the rig. The supply shortage and cost issue has gone ahead and created a little hiccup in me going ahead and getting that off the ground. But when that does get up and running, the gaming rig, Omega's gaming rig, is going to be pretty nasty. And I hope, nevertheless, like I said, wrapping this up, that I'll be able to take advantage of this overdrive mode on the 3000 series cards, as I'm sure many other gamers would like. So what you also may need for, or may not need, for some future gaming prowess is an internet connection, at least insofar as Redfall. So, this one coming out of Windows Central, the developers at Arcane have gone ahead and they heard quite a bit of the feedback from when Redfall for Xbox was initially announced, and a lot of people were saying, hey, this is really good looking game. We're interested to see more of it. However, when you go ahead and you say that it's an always online, it's a little bit depressing and hard pressing for some people, especially when you say, oh, there's an opportunity to play the game single player and kind of steamroll through it. You don't have to go ahead and have that always online internet connection. And so Arcane went ahead, took some of that feedback, and it sounds like they're working to go ahead and roll that back. And there was an audio interview that I heard because just recently, in as close as this past week, there was a lot of influencers and social media types that went ahead and got to get firsthand play experience with Redfall. And a lot of them had nothing but good things to say about it. They said that from their playthroughs, they were doing just single player because Arcane didn't want folks to get in there and just start going, doing the co-op thing and just running amok. But it also probably is because they wanted people to see how well they could enjoy it in just that single player fashion. And so in one of those interviews, they went ahead and they did say that they're looking at the opportunity to go ahead and roll back the always online. I was under the impression that that was because Redfall has been announced as crossplay between your PC and Xbox. But that said, is this something that you're really concerned about, the always online requirement when it comes to Redfall, Mark? And is this a game that as more and more influencer types are going and talking about, is this something that you're looking forward to trying out here in May?
Not really concerned about the online aspect. I mean, as a gamer, you kind of need the online aspect to, download the games and take advantage of the Game Pass service as we do. I I can understand people that have choppy services and you know wherever they're located and might encroach on their gameplay ability, um, being a little froggy about it. But personally, I think we'll be okay on this side. I see more and more games having the online service. With like the I guess the arc aspect. I guess I think we talked about it a little before with Matt. I mean, was it arc? No, I forget what game we were talking about. But anywho, Matt was a little. You see, he's not here to defend himself, but uh,
Throw
he was.
all the spears now.
Yeah, he was a little salty about the discussion on the always online or uh, home console issues and stuff like that. So um, again, it's not an issue for me, but I could see how it could be an issue for others.
Yeah, actually, now that you say it, that kind of rings a little true, rings a bell because I wanted to go ahead and just for test purposes, I had kind of like a doomsday thought process going on in my head, and I say, okay, yeah, well, what about all these games, right? We see it in like Sea of Thieves, we see it in games like to a degree in Anthem, we see it in a lot of games where you have to have that online component or contingent to go ahead and either verify ownership or just make sure that they can try to sink their teeth into you with microtransactions or what have you. And I wanted to test something out, and I went disconnect. I used the disconnect option on my Xbox today to try and see how many games I could boot up without needing an internet connection. Because I mean, you guys know I have hundreds of games on Xbox, and I wanted to see how that worked out. And so I'm wondering if maybe it's because of the home console thing, but almost none. Like it showed up because I didn't have Matt's profile logged in. I had like 800 something games on my hard drive. And then as I went like one by one alphabetical order to try and open a couple, there were very few that were starting up. So maybe that is just a hiccup with with the home console thing. But I could see in a future world, like, or if you're someone that doesn't have a reliable internet connection, why it's such a big deal to go ahead and have this always online, especially if it's like, hey, what if, yeah, I live in an area without a reliable internet connection, and I buy the disc version of Redfall, like you're telling me I literally can't play that game even though you've said I can go through it single player only. So I think it's a good thing that Arcane's going ahead and taking a look at this and trying to roll back that option as it's available. But that being said, yeah, as of right now, we see that we're kind of in a digital world and it's moving ever more forward in that direction. So while we can't necessarily force the individual consumers to go ahead and buck up and somehow get a hold of reliable internet, even though it may be more pervasive in the future with the use of like Starlink or, you know, internet over your cellular connection. I definitely think it's a good thing that the developers are going ahead and taking those folks in mind when they make these decisions. Also, taking other folks in mind when they're making some decisions. This one sourced out of GameMinistry.biz, along with GDC this past week. There was a lot of talk about independent developers, and the ID at Xbox program went ahead and kind of had a reinforcement in what they're calling the ID at Xbox Developer Acceleration Program. And so basically, there's a lot of talk out there, and it kind of goes to, as far as they've said, with Phil Spencer's "when everyone plays, we all win" kind of mantra. Why doesn't that echo on the development side, that when we all have an opportunity to develop, then we all win kind of deal, right? And so they've gone ahead and they've done essentially like a 2.0 after now celebrating the 10-year anniversary of ID at Xbox, which was announced, I believe they said about this time 10 years ago. They're now basically putting it into a whole new kind of overdrive where they're soliciting the feedback and opinions and ideas from developers from all across the globe. And if the opportunity is available, they will go ahead, they being Xbox, will go ahead and reach out to these independent developers and say, hey, yeah, we can work out a deal, whether it's promotion, development or technical expertise, funding. They have all these different opportunities that are going to be available to these indie developers. And, Xbox championing itself as the arbiter of, keeping these fresh ideas out there and coming up from the wilds. They went ahead and championed also how it was something to the tune of, I believe, $40 billion that has been paid out, that Microsoft has paid out to developers over the last 10 years to go ahead and partner with them and try to bring their games to light. So, I mean, I think this is fantastic. There's a lot of great stories that you wouldn't otherwise hear. I'm going to talk about PlayStation for a second. In one of the games that they just put on the service, Chia, it comes from, I believe it's, I don't want to slaughter it, I think it's Macedonia. But the developers, basically indie developers taking a shot. They had some development experience behind their belt before making this title, but they wanted to play with it and explore. And right now, it's like one of the hot things, kind of like Stray, coming out of the indie world, that they're going ahead and PlayStation players are taking part in. So these are just two examples of games that, when given or devs that when given the support and opportunity, they can create great content. And so I really am championing this as well, because I think it's a good thing, and I also think it's a nice little catch-22 or quid pro quo, insofar as if there's fears of Microsoft going ahead and gobbling up all these publishers and everything, well, what are they doing to go ahead and help keep diversity in the gaming sphere? And keep a lot more fresh ideas coming out there, even if it's not coming specifically to their platform. Because Chris Charla, the head of ID at Xbox, went ahead and he identified also in another interview that I was listening to recently that even if the game is not dedicated, now I would presume they need to have at least a version that comes to Xbox, but even if the game is not coming specifically just for Xbox, that doesn't necessarily close the door on these developers from having opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise be presented to bring their ideas to the forefront. So, Mark, what are you thinking about this, ID at Xbox new initiative at the 10-year anniversary, and how do you feel about indies in general? Like, I'm pretty sure you've played quite a few in your time.
Yeah, I enjoy a good indie. Um, I like what they're doing. I can respect it. Um, be one for the people, I guess. People are hating on them with the acquisition stuff, but it's nice to see. I always throw this phrase out there, spread the wealth sort of deal. So like, help the little guys out, and maybe one day they'll become something. Maybe they'll want to acquire. So no, no. Yeah, it the indie industry is something that needs to be promoted more. You don't hear a lot about the indie developers. You just see their games on sale and for $5 or it's very low market from what you do see on, like, for example, some on the marketplace for Xbox store. But um, that's originally where I get them from. I just hop on there and be like, oh, this game's a couple bucks. Hey, let me pick it up. But like if they come out with something worthwhile, maybe with like a backer or to get off the ground to further tier of game development, maybe they can build that revenue and become something, a couple years from now, something a little greater. So I can take it.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, when you look at certain developers like Ninja Theory, that we'll go ahead and we'll talk about later on, they had the Joe games. Crap, I'm trying to think of the name now. But they basically started off as more or less an indie developer in their own rights, and now you look at it and they're making titles. I won't say necessarily on par with God of War, but Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice was a really awesome looking game, and from all of the little teasers and bits that we're seeing of the sequel, these guys came a long way. And so, yeah, I agree with you that indies and indie devs need to be nurtured and promoted so that way they can go ahead and get their vision out there, and they're only going to get better when they get that exposure. I don't know so much about the acquisition piece. I feel like you're channeling a little bit of the Matt isms there. But I wouldn't mind seeing, we've talked about lately how like games with gold is basically anemic, right? There's not much coming out there. So even if they were to rebrand that as, I don't want to say indies with gold, like just get rid of the games with gold moniker altogether. But if they had it where it's like, hey, we're promoting, this indie spotlight or these indie titles for this month, I think
Great
that'd be
idea.
fantastic. Get some exposure
Yeah.
out there, and that way it's not locked behind a subscription like to
Hmm.
Xbox Game Pass. On the same, well, not exactly the same note, but as we're talking a little bit about acquisitions, apparently Microsoft had, I'll say, one big and one medium to small size win. The medium to small being that via Reuters, the previous lawsuit, the gamers lawsuit that was brought against Microsoft. So if you remember, we talked about this previously, where there was a handful of gamers that went ahead and tried to petition I believe it was a California court. Yeah, in San Francisco, they tried to go ahead and petition the court to basically block Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, stating that basically they were going to become a monopoly, they were going to go ahead and take over the market, they were going to hike prices, etc., etc., etc. The judge went ahead, allowing them 20 days to go ahead and refine their legal arguments, basically come with something that's actually got some teeth. That did not happen. And so the judge, District Judge Jacqueline Corley, went ahead and basically said, "No, you're done. Like, you guys don't really have a case after all." And so the judge dismissed the case. And so this was, one of the few, it was a lawsuit, but it was one of the few legal actions that have actually been going in Microsoft's favor this week. So just thought we'd announce that basically you got to come correct if you're going to go ahead and try to take on the big dogs in this situation. Speaking of big dogs, Microsoft is none the lesser, I guess, for being a big dog, because they're going ahead and showing some teeth now that they've had a little bit of a win here, which we'll talk about again further on the show, where Phil Spencer went ahead and said there's a huge opportunity for Xbox to have a mobile presence in gaming, that being an Xbox mobile store, and alluded to the fact that we might even see something here. So let me read just a quick one here. This article coming from Windows Central. Under the digital Sorry, I just caught a typo. Under the Digital Markets Act, extremely large mobile platforms such as those owned by Apple and Google will be called gatekeepers, with a new set of rules around how these companies should act in order to promote fairness and competition. Those rules are set to take effect on March 6, 2024. This being written by Samuel Tolbert, like I said, over at Windows Central. And so it basically presents this notion that if Microsoft is permitted by all parties to go forward with its Activision Blizzard King deal, we've already talked about King being, the king, the crown, the prize that they're actually aiming for here. We could very well see if they mobilize in the mobile market in such a way, we could actually see Microsoft setting up a mobile store to compete with those gatekeepers in as early as spring of next year. I mean, almost literally a month from now. What are your thoughts on and to boot, they've gone ahead and showcased that they have the potential to put out content. If you guys remember, we've talked about AlphaDog, one of the studios that fell or now falls under Microsoft under the Bethesda acquisition previously. And we kind of sat back and we were like, what are they working on? What are these guys working on? They haven't announced anything. Well, surprise, surprise. Now we know. A little earlier this month, they came out with Mighty Doom. Yeah, no, so definitely, Mark, I see a good opportunity in this game. The downside of it being that there's no connection with your Xbox network, so you're not getting achievements or anything like that. But for like a little indie style, kind of, dare I say, side scroller. It's like a top down little animated something. I mean, I've enjoyed a little bit. I played a bit, and you said you have too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's you can connect your Bethesda account, but not sure how far that goes for you. But it would have been nice to do like the Gears Pop thing where they connect your Xbox account. But I'm sure later down the road they'll be releasing some stuff for that.
Yeah, most
Other
definitely.
titles.
I was literally thinking that when they talked about this, when they announced it, and I thought, man, like we already previously had an opportunity to go ahead and showcase the prowess in the mobile space with Gears Pop, which I will admit is the only wait, that would be a lie. One of the only mobile games I've ever spent money on. I actually went ahead and I spent $40, like $20 twice for I guess bonus stuff I can't even remember off the top of my head. So it hurt me when that game just went away and you didn't have the opportunity to play it anymore on mobile. I had stuff come up which drew me, life stuff which drew me away from getting to play that. But I guess I'm thankful insofar as now with Mighty Doom, I'm not seeing anything that's going ahead and pushing that narrative or pushing the envelope of microtransactions as of right now. So we'll see what remains to come in the future. But what also is coming in the future, as hoped for and anticipated, Ghostwire Tokyo is going to be making its debut on Xbox. So if you guys remember, a couple episodes ago, we went ahead and we talked about essentially not only did last year at E3 Xbox go ahead and talk about, hey, here's all the games you can expect in the next 12 months. Conveniently absent from that was Ghostwire Tokyo because it had the 12-year licensing agreement on PlayStation that there wouldn't be any advertising and what have you, any publicity for it on Xbox until a certain time. Well, now we know it's actually going to be coming out here next month in April. And when we previously talked about the lineup for 2023, I think I recall mentioning April seemed kind of sparse, right? Like if we had the opportunity for previously Redfall was supposed to come out in February, then it got pushed back. Whether or not we knew at the time it was coming in April, we kind of lined things up for a good portion of the year. And I think I distinctly recall saying like, hey, March or April seems pretty empty, and I think that would be a great time for Ghostwire Tokyo, whenever it's done with the contractual obligations, to come over on Xbox. And so now it's coming over, like I said, beginning of April, and it's going to come with the Spiders. What the heck is it called? There's a special update that's going to be coming with it. If I could get the thing to showcase exactly what I want to see. Cool, it's not going to show me right now. Anywho, Spider's Thread. There we go. Sorry, Spider's Thread update. Mark, is this to my knowledge, you have not gotten Ghostwire on PC or on PlayStation. Is this something you're looking forward to now that it's going to be coming to Xbox and coming to the Game Pass service and giving it a try?
Funny. Well, I did not buy it. It was on Epic. Well, still is on Epic. It's been in my wish list forever, but I have not clicked the button yet to purchase. And here it is. So hats off to me for not getting hammered with the buyer's remorse for stuff coming to Game Pass. So I'm getting better at that. I'm getting better at not purchasing things right away because it just always gets me with, oh, here it's on sale, or hey, it's coming to Game Pass in 3 months. So. But yes, I'm excited to play it. Good looking game. Good addition to the Game Pass service.
Yeah, be sure you don't say the whole holding back too loudly because I think Matt's ears are burning right now, and he would accuse you of not supporting the developers. But we know fully well that if a game is released on, whether it be Xbox Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, or Nintendo Switch Online, that clearly those developers agreed to certain terms that they felt were quality for what they were trying to get out there into the world. Moving right along onto our next big news segment, something else that will hopefully get out into the world now in short order. The CMA has gone ahead and changed its opinion, its initial impression, I should say, regarding the Microsoft Activision Blizzard King merger, insofar as what you guys may remember, and I know everyone is sick and tired of talking about this story, myself included. We simply want you guys to be well aware of what's going on so that, the casual gamer is not blindsided when they go, holy cow, why do I all of a sudden have all these Call of Duty games on Xbox Game Pass? Not that you would complain about that to begin with, because you'd be absolutely insane, but basically, if you guys recall, and so this is being sourced out of The Verge, if you guys recall, CMA put up a lot of these arguments saying, oh, the merger is bad for gamers, it's bad for consumerism, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. They put out something of their assessment of how much money Microsoft could stand to make by following suit on what they had said they would do by going ahead and having it on all these different platforms, and the numbers seem very low. And Microsoft, being none the happier, went ahead and publicly criticized them, saying basically, you don't know how to do 2 plus 2. Obviously, it was in amounts far greater than a simple 2 plus 2, but they went ahead and nevertheless critiqued the CMA, and now the CMA has come back and said, where did it go? Okay, so the CMA chairman Martin Coleman has gone ahead and gone on record to say, quote, having considered the additional evidence proved, we have now provisionally concluded that the merger will not result in a substantial lessening of competition in console gaming services because the cost to Microsoft of withholding Call of Duty from PlayStation would outweigh any gains from taking such action, end quote. So basically what this goes to say is, hey, the sole argument that PlayStation had, and I'm repping them today because I feel like they're about to get beat down hardcore. The sole argument that PlayStation had saying that Microsoft was going to go ahead and take Call of Duty away from its gamers, the CMA has concluded that Microsoft's own provided numbers demonstrate that no, the benefits don't outweigh the risk by going ahead and taking it away from said gamers. So basically, in a legal sense, short of saying you will, they're going ahead and saying it doesn't make sense for you too. And so, from last week's episode, we very briefly talked about how Destin Legary of IGN went ahead and had on Michael Pachter, and they kind of had an interview. The piece that we forgot to, and I forgot to go ahead and mention, was the insight that Michael Pachter said, where basically once the legal precedent has been eroded, that financially it doesn't make sense for Microsoft to keep this off of PlayStation. Between the CMA, the EU, and the FTC, they were basically going to be clamoring over each other to try and go ahead and say, oh no, we approved it, we approved it, we approved it first, because it could potentially somehow prove to be a political victory for those different entities, or I don't know what the exact benefit is. However, Pack Attack stipulated that we could see the deal approved almost as soon as April. And right now, Mark, we're about a week away from April, and we're waiting for the final judgment, but we presumably have already heard from the CMA that was the biggest argument against this deal going through, that they are now provisionally in favor of this deal. So this is huge news insofar as the potential for this thing finally moving forward and us being able to talk about something else, like the great games that are going to be available to even more people as a result of it. But do you have any feelings on this one in general?
Glad it's going to be over.
Yeah, agreed. This has been it's kind of wild to me how, shoot, what was it now? 2 years ago? 2 years ago
been a minute.
when the Bethesda, well, I mean when the Bethesda acquisition was announced, dude, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
like announced and closed, done, like within
Yep.
6 months. And so it's humorous to me now. Mind you, Bethesda was a private corporation, so there wasn't a lot of public trading stuff going on. But it's wild to me how concise that process was compared to how elongated and exaggerated that this thing has been. My only hope is that this does come to fruition finally, sooner than rather than later. So, like I said, we can move on to other things and talk about some of the great stuff in gaming, like we're about to, and we get to see more people have access to more games, utilizing fantastic technologies that are out there now and in the future. And speaking of technologies that are out there now and in the future, it is absolutely wild. I'm gonna go ahead and set us up here on our scene so we can go ahead and check it out. Like we said, guys, GDC came this past weekend or this past week, and they showcased a couple things. One of which being the next evolution of Unreal Engine. Whoops, sorry, that is the wrong video I'm playing there. Unreal Engine in Fortnite for developers to go ahead and take advantage of the tools of the Unreal Engine and build stuff within the Fortnite universe. So, kind of wild. It's almost like, dude, I don't even know how to describe this as we're watching it. We got bananas, we got robots. This shit's crazy, man. But all that to say, when I saw this video, there was no way that I thought that this was done in Fortnite, with the exception of the character that you are, presumably playing in this third person view as, because the explosions look incredible, the laser tech, like all of this stuff looks fantastic. And this is something that was all built using Unreal Engine, presumably by Epic Games, to go ahead and showcase the potential of what can be done with Unreal Engine. But now they're extending that onward to say, hey, if you are a creative and you're interested in going ahead and working with us by making Epic and Unreal Engine, the go-to for all things in the future, particularly, working on the metaverse, we would love to go ahead and have you guys get involved. And they previously announced earlier this year that the Unreal Engine development kit for Unreal Engine 5 is available for anybody to make use of. That's part of, the stuff that I've been downloading here on Omega. So it looks fantastic. There's a lot of great stuff coming out of this. You got a chance to watch this trailer, I'm sure, Mark. What did you think about this one? Showcasing all the tech that's going into Unreal and the opportunity for folks to participate and add more stuff into Fortnite primarily, but showcasing the tech
Yeah.
that we can see going forward.
This is the Fortnite most of us wanted. It looks 100% different game. They might have to change the name, honestly, since they've moved away from the whole building aspect, it seems like. But anywho, as alluded before, these graphics are getting insane. the scene that in that video is like it's like not cartoony. It's like it seems like something that'd be out of like I hate to compare it, but like almost like Metal Gear, like with the
Okay.
robots and stuff, and the scene, just that scene. But it, it's crazy to me. It's like they took this like cartoony version of this game from like what 6 years now it's been out,
Yeah,
something like that.
sounds
So
about right. Yeah.
2017, something like that. And then they just flipped the whole script. It's like this is the new gen, new Unreal. We're shoving in this game, and we can do whatever we want. So like, I'm pretty excited for it. We played it a couple like maybe a month or two ago, and it had little nits and tits of new stuff going on. But like, this is like crazy. Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna do you one better. Like when I look at that, like, and especially when they're talking about the metaverse, and I have echoes of Ready Player One in my head. You know, if you got to see the movie, I get it. The book was better than the movie. I have yet to read the book, but I watched the movie, and I was highly impressed with what I saw there and this notion of the metaverse played out in real life, right? And when we talk about or how we incorporate that into real life, when we talk about the opportunity, even expanding further into things like esports, right? Which is essentially what happened in Ready Player One as far as the storyline. Sorry, I hope this isn't a spoiler. I don't think I'm spoiling it. But they went ahead and there was a significant opportunity. Now the details are sparse in my head, but it was a significant opportunity of some financial value that was presented if you did X, Y, and Z in this alternative world. And so you had players from all over the world that were logging in to try and go ahead and achieve this. And I can only imagine, especially when Tim Sweeney, the head of Epic over there, is talking about things like the metaverse. I can squarely see Fortnite being that platform that launches Epic Games into the metaverse. And I could see myself having some incredible fun. If they came up with, we're talking like a great VR set, like we're kind of seeing with the PSVR 2, untethered, the opportunity to go ahead and wear some of the haptic feedback devices that we've also seen from independent developers, and I can have some great immense 3D audio type, like a 3D pulse headset like PlayStation, to be able to go ahead and get fully immersed in that. Dude, sign me up. Sign me up. That's the metaverse that I want to participate in. Not the shenanigans of NFTs and whatever other crap they got going on. But leaning straight into some more coming out of GDC, we got another video we want to play here real quick. Let me hide it. So this coming out of Ninja Theory, it was the showcase of what metahuman technology and Unreal Engine 5.0 can do. And when I saw this trailer, dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, like I could tell where it changed from the live actress to the metahuman tech, because it goes black screen and then all of a sudden she's got different face paint and everything like that. But just the mannerisms of the mouth, the eyes, the muscles, and the micro expressions that were going on when you're seeing this has me highly impressed for what we're going to see going forward for any devs that want to take full advantage of this tech. But then also highly ecstatic and excited to go ahead and get to play Hellblade 2's Senua's Saga. Like, what are you thinking about that one? And is that something that you are super excited for as well, or what do you think?
Yeah, well, I should complete the first one. Sadly, I have not.
What?
I know.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right
Added to
now,
the.
it's only like an 8 hour. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
it's
even say
short.
8 hour. You
I
can
know.
bang
It's
through it
just,
if you don't go for collectibles.
um, but yeah, the originally when we saw the ex, stage example of the working on the phone and what they could do in a couple of minutes, it was ridiculous. Aside from her being a great actress, portraying Tanua. But yeah, it's again, it's getting next gen-ish, I guess you can say, for all this new tech they're coming out with. It's almost getting to the point where it's like I alluded before, like it's movie production quality in your game console. Like it's getting a little crazy. So, but yeah, the video is showing it's the facial expressions they could capture with like just a few, little electronics on the face, and then whatever software that he's using. It's like they can do so much more, especially maybe implementing like the metaverse, like you imagine stuff like that, like the characters, lighting, the path tracing, all this stuff, all combined into one can just go wherever. It's
We're gonna go Second Life 2.0.
yeah, yeah,
Right? Going back to the old PC game, everyone's like, oh, okay, I just clocked out of my 9 to 5, now to go live my other life with,
right.
my pool and my mansion and all this other crap that I can't afford in my real life. But no, I agree 110%. And as you're talking about it, it's funny because as you're talking about it, I'm thinking to myself, it's interesting because you hear about PlayStation going ahead and getting the IPs out there into the world in the form of media, right? Last of Us went ahead and concluded, and we kind of talked about how season one wrapped up and our thoughts on season one in general. We know there's a God of War series that's coming. We know there's a Gran Turismo movie, if that's right, that's coming. I believe there's also a series for Twisted Metal that's coming. I mean, there's so much stuff. And then on the opposite side of the house, you got, well, all around. You got the Mario movie that's coming out here next month. You've got Gears of War. We should be getting a movie, a series. I think there's also an animated. Like, we're going to see these companies double and triple dip down, double down, whatever, on these IPs. So I could only imagine implementing the tech like we're seeing in Unreal Engine 5 and MetaHuman to create in-engine movies, right? And so if you have that opportunity and you can't really distinguish, or you have a very difficult time distinguishing between the live actor and this this universe that they could create in Unreal Engine, like I'm astounded. I am so looking forward to think about literally what the thought that I had when I was watching the Fortnite thing was like Ready Player One, and then I thought, God, we've come such a long way from Pong. Right? When you think about how much we talk about gaming's greatest generation here on the show, like the fact that we've been able to live through childhood and getting to experience things like Pong and Minesweeper and Joust, and we're come all the way now to, of all things, Fortnite, which was, regarded for a while as kind of the kid game and whatever, but adults like us have dipped back into it, and we're having a good time when we do. I can only imagine that I look so forward to what's coming up in the future. Agreed?
Oh yeah, and another thing, like when the game releases were coming out, they always say like not actual gameplay footage, but like now it's like complete opposite. Like they're showing actual footage of, like a couple
Yeah,
years
in
back it
engine
would be
stuff,
like
yeah.
some cinematic trailers or something, but now it's like the actual game. Like crazy.
Well, now especially it's kind of wild because it's like what can you say, because, or what kind of spears can you throw at these, when they say, oh, in engine but not on console, like whatever, like especially when you're looking at something like Xbox, who is developing their games to come out on PC as well as on the console. All they need to say is it's in engine, right? Because
Yeah.
even if it's, previously we used to say, but it's not going to look that good. Excuse me, not going to look that good on the console. I'm looking at you, Watch Dogs 1. We presumably aren't going to have that anymore, because if I watch this trailer and I'm like, damn, that looks really good, and they say in engine, I can expect that when I boot up my computer with decent hardware in it, that I'm going to be able to get that very same experience, no?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Cool, cool, cool. So we have gone ahead and talked and mentioned it a couple times, but the Game Developer Conference went ahead and happened over the last week in San Francisco. So this is again, I've been critiqued, if you will, for going ahead and putting a lot of onus into this one, because this is basically where game craftsman gender neutral, whatever, the people that make games are going ahead and recognizing their peers for the efforts in what they've done, and so we have yet another awards situation that came down, and we got to see a lot of games go ahead and get their just dues, and developers get their praise. And so, of the titles that were announced or awards that were announced, the best debut game was awarded to Stray. Best visual art, Elden Ring. Best audio, God of War Ragnarok. Best narrative, Pentiment. Social Impact Award went to Citizen Sleeper. Innovation Award went to Immortality. Best Technology, God of War Ragnarok. Best Design, Elden Ring. Audience Award, God of War Ragnarok. The Pioneer Award went to Mabel Adis. And the Lifetime Achievement Award went to John Romero. So John Romero's been around for a little while in multiple forms of media, if you're familiar. And then, of course, the Game of the Year, which I'm so glad that he's not on the episode because I don't want to hear any smug comments. Game of the Year went to Elden Ring. So fantastic job there for FromSoft and all the developers for going ahead and getting acknowledged in such a way, again, by peers in their trade and in their craft. It's one thing for us as gamers to go ahead and look at something and go, game good, give award. It's a whole nother thing. I don't know why I made us Neanderthals there. But it's a whole nother thing when you have people that are on the same level of subject matter expertise and technical prowess to go ahead and say, I see what you did there, and I'm going to go ahead and congratulate you on that, right? Are you surprised by any of these, Mark, or is it pretty much what we expected from last year's awards with the Game Awards and the BAFTAs and all these
Yeah.
others?
As is expected, the Elden Ring Ragnarok awards, but they did good. Congrats to all. It was I know Matt's probably kicking himself right now, but he's talking about replaying it already with the new ray tracing update. So, beautiful game. I think it deserves the game of the year, as I alluded to when I first booted it up last year. Just a overall good game. I mean, give credit where credit's due, I guess. But congrats to all.
Yeah, dude, I was watching a couple, in preparation for the show, getting some videos ready and everything. I was watching like the all-time fails or greatest fails or whatever for Elden Ring, and you had a couple streamers, Twitch streamers that were going ahead and just like losing their absolute minds when they would go ahead and be beaten by one enemy or another, and I was impressed. Again, having not played it yet, I know. Go ahead and throw all the. You know what, you guys, how you can really get to me is going ahead and calling in 702-690-9292 and letting me know what a piece of crap I am for not playing that game. Or you can go ahead and write us at gamingsgreatestgeneration@gmail.com. But when I saw this blooper reel or what have you, greatest fails reel, I was impressed by how many different enemy types that I saw on there. I saw like 12 or probably at least a dozen different streamers that were just like, again, losing their crap by going ahead and losing to these different enemies. So it reinvigorated the drive that I want to play it. Honestly, I want to play it, but I want to play it on the PC, and I just can't bring myself to spend that kind of cash money just yet. especially when, like I said, Matt and I console share, and he bought it already. So, but I probably will go ahead and dig into things like Stray, Pentiment, and God of War Ragnarok. They got the 3-hour trial on PlayStation, so I might go ahead and check that out now that I got the platinum in the previous game. But that is all that we've got insofar as new, guys. We made it. All the news is now covered, which leads us into our favorite section of the show, Release Radar. So, we've got Colossal Cave coming out on Xbox Series and Xbox One consoles March 28th. Crime Boss, Rocky City, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC March 28th. MLB The Show 23 on PlayStation 5, 4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, and Switch March 28th. Sifu, what is going to be coming out on Xbox Series and Xbox One consoles March 28th? I did not hear about that one. Terra Nil is coming out on PC, iOS, and Android March 28th. The Last of Us Part 1 on PC March 28th. March 28th is going to be a banger. Dredge on PS5, 4, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on March 30th. The Last Worker on PS5, 4, Xbox Series, PS5, PlayStation VR 2, Xbox Series consoles, Switch, and PC March 30th. Citizen Sleeper is making its way over to PS5 and 4 on March 31st. And then Cosmonius High is coming out for the Oculus Quest on March 31st. That is actually a pretty impressive list, I would say. So without further ado, Mr. Snipe90, what is on your hit list?
So, well, I have Sifu already on Epic. It's on my backlog. But Last of Us Part 1, I'm on the fence. Like, I have the PS4 version. I can't. I don't know if I want to spend the 60 on.
Now, wait, when you say you have it on PS4, you mean just Last of Us. You don't mean Last of Us Part 1, because Part 1 was the
Part 1.
specific PS5 and PC remake.
Yeah. I have Part 1 on 4. Sorry. I have the disc version on PS4. I don't know if I want to buy. Yeah. I don't know if I want to buy the PC version to get the the full effect here, or go back a gen and play it. So kind of up in the air there. And then of course.
So again, your choice is made pretty easy because that one's only coming out on PS5 and PC. They already released it on PS5 and now it's coming out on PC. So that's your only option, sir. You can't rock that on PS4.
Right. So more than likely, I'll get the digital deluxe and bite the bullet. But anyhow, March 28th, get yourself Last of Us. Since you're done with the season, gonna get you a little game.
Yeah, I can say for me, dude. Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about MLB The Show 23. I'm not a huge baseball guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I played when I was much younger, just casual type stuff, not anything professional or intramural. But I definitely think I want to get into that one, especially because they're introducing a component of the game where they explore the Negro Leagues and they talk about the history and the players and everything like that. I've heard a lot about that in the past week, and so I'm looking forward to trying that one out. Presumably, it's gonna be on Game Pass. I don't know off the top of my head. Crime Boss, Rocky City, dude. I remember when they showcased that at the Game Awards, and I was like, "What do we have here?" I was very interested. And I want to see more of it before I go ahead and drop some money on it. But, Epic has been advertising it for forever. I believe it's on Steam as well. Or coming out on Steam. I don't know off the top of my head. Last of Us Part 1, like you, I have Last of Us on PS4, and I've got Last of Us remastered on. Well, shoot, dude, how many times have I bought that? I've got Last of Us, Last of Us Left Behind, Last of Us remastered. I think that was it, right? And so I don't know. I might just hold out because it's like, okay, cool. They remade the game, and I'm not at all trying to say Naughty Dog didn't deserve doesn't deserve to go ahead and have a re-release of this one because of all the effort they put in. But I might, with all my backlog, might just hold off until that one comes out on one of the subscription services. So, and then I keep hearing about Citizen Sleeper. Our co-host Matt has talked about that one quite a bit before. So I probably need to expand the repertoire and play a little bit more stuff. So that being said, I think we've had a long enough show. So Mr. Snipe 90, what you been doing? What you been playing? Where can the people find you?
I've actually been playing Escape Academy. Um, just something I had picked up, and I was like, let me start it up. So having a little fun with that. It's like the escape room ordeal. Playing with the fam on the Xbox Series S with Spyro, like all the old school stuff, all the Activision, Spyro and Crash, and getting back to the roots, you could say. But
All the stuff not
yeah,
owned by Xbox, but soon to be owned by Xbox.
yes. um, Wife plays a lot of Monopoly and Uno. Yeah, I'm just glad they're enjoying it. It was a good purchase, so happy with it. Other than that, once I get back to a little more gaming, I'd like to finish some stuff. Kirby Forgotten Land. Gotta finish Origami King. Gotta finish Gears Tactics. A couple games on my list that I need to finish that have just been lingering. But yeah, other than that, what you been up to?
I mean, dude, I'm listening to all that. I was like, if it wasn't for all the new titles coming out soon, I would say it's time for another backlog beatdown challenge. But I think we can postpone that for a little bit longer. Stave that off for a little bit longer. So myself, known as Ice on all things gaming social media, I have been playing a variety. I went ahead and I played a bit of Horizon Zero Dawn because again, finished the game story, but I'm trying to work to go ahead and get the platinum in that one. I'm getting trophy. I'm like, all right, we're getting closer. So I've been playing that. What did I just play? I just played something. God, I hate when I do this and I forget what I've been playing. I dipped back into Forza Horizon 5 a little bit, but that was prior to the Rally Adventure DLC that came out just recently. Or, yeah, I think, or does that come out in the next few days? I see them advertise it, but I haven't dipped into that yet. Last week, oh goodness, I wish he was on the show so we could talk about it. Was it last week or the week? Yeah, it was last week when we played a little bit of Overcooked 2.
Yeah.
That was absolute shit show. I don't know how else to describe that. That was terrible.
It's one of those games where it doesn't matter if you're winning or losing. It's just a fun experience.
It mattered to me. No, that's the type of thing we really, one of us said it, and in hindsight, I wish we would have been recording because that was just absolutely hilarious gameplay, and we were, griping at each other to try and go ahead and, like, go get the damn hot dog. Anywho, other than that, I did download the Diablo 4 beta on Xbox. I have heard nothing but good things. Maybe one or two, pipes about stuff that aren't to folks' personal likings. But I want to see if I can afford some time to try that out this weekend. before they take that offline, and then you got to wait until June release. But I'm
Melt your GPU.
no, I'm gonna be playing on Xbox, sir, not on my my PC. I've heard about some of the shenanigans that it's done with NVIDIA GPUs. Other than that, dude, I know I've played more stuff. I just literally can't think of it right now. Just always trust that I'm playing something. Most likely right now it's something in the backlog. I need to get back into Hi-Fi Rush. I downloaded Inculinati, so I wanted to try that one out. I just went ahead and reinstalled Forza Horizon 4. Forza Horizon 4. Because I don't know what it is. That game just really sunk me back into the genre, or sunk me back into the franchise. And I really like playing that one a lot. And I'm just like nonstop. I've done some work, like I said, on the computer. So I'm just nonstop downloading a whole bunch of different games to make myself available to play with y'all. And we played some Halo Infinite, right? We played some Halo Infinite last week, multiplayer, which I thought was good. The newer maps are wow. Yeah, that's all I can really say. There's just wow. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Definitely get in there if you haven't and try it out. See if we can all collectively breathe some second life into Halo Infinite because it needs it right about now.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
they definitely expanded the play field, I guess you could say, with these new maps. It's not like it's a small sandbox ordeal. Like Leo said, it's a lot going on. We did some big team games, and surprisingly, there was some social interaction, which was
Yeah, there was chat, there was talk.
there was some chat going on. It was very odd. I haven't heard that in
It
10
wasn't
years.
it wasn't super PC, but
Yeah, but surprisingly, that it was. Yeah, I had my speculations, but it, it was a good update.
yeah, that might be depending on what time you got. That might be something we can hop into a little bit tonight. But that being said, we're not going to get there unless we wrap up this show. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 81 of Gaming's Greatest Generation podcast, G3 for short. You can check us out on the web at g3podcast.live. We are, in fact, live on there. You can also check us out on all your favorite audio listening platforms or on YouTube video on demand. Yeah. With that, once again, feel free to like, subscribe, share with a friend. That's the only way we're going to go ahead and get this show to new heights, and we know that we're actually doing something that you guys can appreciate. You can join the Discord. I wish I had a really easy link for you to get there. Just check the show notes because we have it linked there. And that's really about it. So with that, feel free to go ahead and comment in any way that you see fit. Let us know some stuff that maybe you want to talk about. Are you excited for the Activision Blizzard King merger with Microsoft to finally potentially be over? Or are you looking forward to Ghostwire Tokyo for Xbox? Are you upset that Redfall is going to be coming on Xbox and not on PlayStation? Are you happy that Call of Duty is going to remain available to everyone and coming out to even more players? We want to know your feedback so that way we know some stuff that we can talk about on the show. With that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Remember, gaming's greatest generation is the one you guys are a part of.